Hello everyone. Today we will discuss the Civil Services Mains Essay Exam of 2023. As we all know, there were two sections, Section A, Section B, and each comprising of 4 questions each. So आज हम analysis करते हैं बैठ के सारे questions का, क्या-क्या questions आए थे, क्या-क्या possible answers हो सकते थे, और हम discuss करेंगे कि क्या possible answers हो सकते हैं इन questions के. तो सबसे पहले question number 1 पे आते हैं. Question number 1 was a quote, "Thinking is like a game. It does not begin unless there is an opposite team." अब इस क्वेश्चन में गेम और थिंकिंग के बीच में एक पैरेलल है जो कि बहुत ऑब्वियस है. दोनों चीजों का एक सिंगल एम होता है. यू हैव टू विन इन अ गेम एंड यू हैव टू फाइंड अ सॉल्यूशन व्हेन यू आर थिंकिंग अबाउट अ प्रॉब्लम. As there are two teams in a game, similarly there are pros and cons in thinking and planning. A game involves physical activities, exercise, endurance, whereas thinking involves mental exercise and endurance. Just as a game is useless without an opponent, thinking is of no use when there is no counterpoint to a point. Thinking is largely strategizing, and it is always against an opponent or someone that you strategize. In other words, the challenges that you face in accomplishing a goal or a task are actually the opponent in the thinking process. The topic seems to revolve around the idea that critical thinking often emerges in response to the opposing viewpoints and challenges. Candidates may have been asked to explore how the clash of ideas leads to innovation and progress. In the conclusion of this answer, you can summarize and show in a sentence how thinking is like a game. Let's move on to question number 2. Visionary decision making happens at the intersection of intuition and logic. Now, this famous saying belongs to Paul O'Brien. Visionary decisions are the decisions ahead of their time, and they might have appeared paradoxical at the time. In the course of time, these decisions went on to prove worthwhile and successful. Such decisions are often seen when innovations and discoveries in various fields are made. Visionary decisions are often taken by genius, about whom Edison said they are 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. This is actually the intuition given in the topic. Logic does not always take us to a solution. This is where intuition comes in, and there is an intersection of logic and intuition. In this question, you can discuss the balance between intuition and rationality in making important decisions. It encourages a reflection on the role of both factors in effective leadership and problem solving. Let's move on to the third question. The third question was, "Not all who wander are lost." Now, this line is from a poem, "All that glitters is not gold," in The Lord of the Rings. It is the riddle of the Strider or the Aragorn. The quote means just because someone likes to explore things doesn't mean that they're lost. Not physically anyway, but spiritually and mentally, they are prepared. The poem is a motivational poem, and students can explain in a paragraph that not all who wander are lost. It is an inspiring poem, and on the surface, it is about Aragorn, the rightful heir of Gondor, yet it really conveys how people who lose their way can still bounce back in life. People lose their way often because they take the path of least resistance. What they fail to understand is that this actually involves the most pain. As we grow older, some of us find it harder to rationalize our choices. A sense of dissatisfaction permeates our life. We'd like to change our situation, but oftentimes we no longer have a vision of our own. No life purpose equals to no motivation. The back burner is no place for dreams. This topic expected candidates to think about exploring and being spontaneous in life's journey can be really good. Let's move on to the fourth question. The fourth question was, "Inspiration for creativity springs from the effort to look for magical in the mundane." Creativity comes from a creative mind. The creative mind sees magic in everyday routine and mundane life. Newton saw gravity in the falling object. Kalidas saw compassion in a deer hit by an arrow. All inventions are inspired by mundane observation. Apple logo design also came from the magic in mundane. Many also claim that the bite in the logo of an apple was to create a buzz among computer enthusiasts, as it rhymes with a byte, a unit for data in the computing and telecommunication segment. This essay topic appears to emphasize the idea that creativity is not limited to rare moments of inspiration, but can be found everywhere in everyday experiences. Think about where creativity comes from and how we can express it in our daily lives. Now let's move on to section B. Question number 5 is, "Girls are weighed down by restrictions, boys with demands, two equally harmful disciplines." This saying is by Simone de Beauvoir. She was a French existentialist philosopher and a feminist thinker. She made significant contributions to feminist philosophy through her works such as The Second Sex, where she talks about the other, and she examined the role of societal expectations in shaping a woman's life. This quote presents the idea that both boys and girls, or individuals of different genders, often face distinct but equally harmful forms of societal pressures. It suggests that the expectations placed on girls and boys can be damaging and limit their potential. We can talk about what restrictions do we see on girls. what kind of demands the boys face, and what can be done about it. Then you can simply conclude your answer. Moving on to the next question. Question number 6 is mathematics is the music of reason. The complete saying is by James Joseph Sylvester, and it goes that mathematics is the music of reason. May not music be described as the mathematics of the sense, mathematics as the music of reason. The musician feels mathematics, the mathematician thinks music, music the dream, mathematics the working life. Comparing mathematics and music, we can talk about the relationship, the similarity, and their linkage. Music has a system and mathematics has a system. Music has rhythm, harmony, notes, and pattern, whereas mathematics has its own reason and logic, equations, and theorems. Just as the 7 notes in music are universal, the number system in mathematics is universal, something given and not to be proven. Just as creativity emerges out of the 7 notes of music, mathematical creativity emerges out of the number system. Mathematics can be as fun and entertaining as music. This statement suggests a poetic connection between mathematics and music. Candidates likely had to discuss the beauty and logic inherent in mathematics and its role in shaping our understanding of the world. Moving on to the next question. Question number 7 is, a society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. Now, this is a quote from an American political activist, Ralph Nader. He was also an author, a lecturer, and an attorney noted for his involvement in consumer protection, environmentalism, and government reform causes. A society in need of charity is an unequal society with extreme differences in wealth and possessions. An unequal society is probably an unjust society because an unequal society with extremes of differences in wealth, education, and other attainments implies a negligent attitude of the society and the government towards the less fortunate. Such a society is an unjust society. The characteristics of a just society are equity of wealth, equitable distribution of wealth, universal and uniform access to income, jobs, and various other opportunities. Therefore, fewer charities are needed in European societies. This topic seems to touch upon the idea of social justice and charity, which have been discussed by philosophers, and the concept of veil of ignorance. You can explore the relationship between justice, equality, and philanthropy in society. Coming on to the last question. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. This is a famous quote by Albert Einstein. Einstein is saying that you only really start learning once you have left school and forgotten what you learned there. He's suggesting that although school is there to educate you about important subjects such as math and science, only real life can really educate you about things that are really important. There have been many experiments in school education aimed at imparting life lessons not found within the 4 walls of school. For example, Shanti Niketan established by Rabindranath Tagore. You can talk about various aspects such as education in schools. You can focus on literacy and accumulation of facts, wisdom and creativity and how they are missing in schools, education outside of school, creativity, open-mindedness, and liberal thinking. You can also talk about the difference between learning and education. School is where learning happens and life is where education happens. Rabindranath Tagore, Dhirubhai Ambani, and Kalidas are some figures that didn't go to a formal school. Education, whereas, can be found anywhere in life. This essay topic likely demands from candidates to reflect on the education beyond rote memorization. It may have been expected discussion on the practical application of knowledge and lifelong learning. For more such informative videos, stay tuned to Disha publication.